Hey, it's your benefit buddy, and today we re-uncovering something that's flying under the radar but could change your retirement, your health care, and your taxes in a massive way. Right now, the Senate is in the middle of something intense called a voterama. It may sound like a game show, but it's anything but funny. It's an all-night amendment dash after dash amendment voting marathon on one of the biggest and most controversial pieces of legislation in years, Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill. But while the media talks about border walls and tax breaks for corporations, what's buried deep in this 940-page proposal is what really matters to you, especially if you're a senior or planning to retire soon. The bill promises tax relief like eliminating taxes on tips and overtime pay, which sounds great on the surface. More money in your pocket if you're in the service industry or an hourly worker. But to fund those tax cuts and new spending on things like border security and defense, the plan slashes over $1 trillion for Medicaid, and that's where the real damage begins. You might think Medicaid only helps low-income families, but in truth, millions of older Americans rely on it for essential services that Medicare doesn't fully cover, things like nursing homes, home care, and long-term support. According to the Congressional Budget Office, this bill could result in nearly 12 million people losing coverage over the next decade. And in states like Florida, Texas, and South Carolina that heavily rely on Medicaid for elder care programs, the damage could be even worse. It's a quiet crisis in the making, and the pushback isn't just coming from Democrats. Republican Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina gave a deeply personal speech, saying the bill would betray more than 600,000 people in his state. Then he announced he's not running for re-election. That's a major move, and Trump wasted no time firing back on Truth Social, celebrating his exit. The tension isn't just within parties, it's boiling over. Even Elon Musk, who's often aligned with conservative policies, criticized the bill harshly, calling the spending insane, and joking that we're reliving in a one-party system. He nicknamed the Porky Pig Party. That's not your typical billionaire political commentary. Meanwhile, on the steps of the Supreme Court, protesters with the Moral Mondays movement laid down symbolic caskets, each one labeled with the number of people expected to lose coverage in their state. These weren't just props, they were warnings. But this bill doesn't only touch healthcare. It affects taxes in surprising ways too. If you count on the state and local tax deduction SALT hits being extended, but only for 5 years, far shorter than expected, and the federal debt ceiling, that's being raised by $5 trillion, pushing the total U.S. national debt toward $42 trillion. That number has some senators calling the move reckless. Senator Rand Paul said it would bury the next generation in mountains of debt. And let's talk about the math. To make the bill appear more affordable, Republicans are using something called the current policy baseline, which assumes that 2017 tax cuts are already permanent, even though they're not. It's a budget trick that lowers the projected cost on paper by nearly $4 trillion. Democrats are calling it fake math, but the amendment passed. Cracks are also starting to show within the Republican Party. Senators like Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins are pushing for changes. Murkowski negotiated Alaska-specific carve-outs, including a tax break for whaling captains and extra nutrition support programs. Yes, you heard that right. When bills are this big and rushed, strange deals slip in. And even after all of this, the bill's path forward isn't clear. Once the Senate votes, it goes back to the House, where tensions are already high. Members of the House Freedom Caucus are furious, saying they didn't even get time to read the Senate's updated version. They're threatening to block it. Meanwhile, Trump is pushing to get the bill signed before the 4th of July, using Independence Day as a symbolic deadline. But symbolism doesn't get you 218 votes in the House. If this bill passes, the consequences are enormous. Your taxes could go down, especially if you're a tipped worker or small business owner. But for seniors and retirees, Medicaid cuts could mean reduced access to care, fewer services, and long-term uncertainty. It's a complicated trade-off. So here's what your benefit buddy recommends. Don't tune this out. These aren't abstract policies, they're real decisions that could hit your wallet and your family hard. Stay informed, ask questions, and keep watching. If you found this helpful, Drop your thoughts in the comments. What part of this bill worries you most? Or is there anything you actually support in it? I'll be reading all of them. And if you want more clear, no drama breakdowns like this one, hit that subscribe button. We're here to keep things honest, calm, and focused on helping you understand what matters most. Thanks for spending time with me today. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.